and College of Business. We are recording this session, and so wanted to just let you know that this will be captured. If you have colleagues or teammates that you want to share pieces of this, we can certainly share this with you later. Going to give it just another minute before we dive in. We've got an exciting session here to kind of walk you through plans for the fall in terms of recruiting at Robinson. So just another moment here. So as part of the welcome, just a suggestion in the chat, if you want to just drop your name, the organization you represent, that might be a fun way to engage. We're not asking everybody to turn their cameras on because of bandwidth issues, depending on where you are, but feel free to. But always great to put names with faces and companies, and I think it's great to see these kind of rolling through the chat. And if you have questions today, feel free to drop questions in the chat. And we have staff that are monitoring that, and we'll make sure that we either address it in the session or follow up with you individually. So again, welcome this morning to our Employer Relations Summit. My name is Jason Aldridge, as I mentioned, Assistant Dean for Strategic Partnerships and Career Advancement. Been at Robinson a long time. This will actually be my 15th year here with the college. And I was thinking back, well, I think we've probably done 15 or 20 of these over the years since I've been a part of the college. And I can't remember one where we were more excited to see this many employers dial in. And, we're really excited to kick off the fall semester. The plan at the moment is to be in person and hold classes in person on campus. Our office is actually located right in the heart of downtown. We're on the 12th floor of 55 Park Place. And there's a number of classrooms in that facility. And so we're actually really excited to see students in person. We've been back in the office on a regular basis for the last couple of weeks. And so having said that, I know there's certainly a lot of concern and real concern about the Delta variant. And what I can share with everybody is that the university leadership is monitoring that closely. And so, all I can say is stay tuned. If things change, certainly we'll be informing people quickly. But at the moment, the plan is to have classes on campus in person. Having said that, one of the great things that our team did, particularly our undergraduate team led by Denise Holmes, is some surveying of employers a couple of months ago and really throughout the last 6 months to kind of keep a finger on the pulse of what your needs are. And one of the things we heard clearly a couple of months ago when we were making decisions about our fall calendar is, how much online, how much in person, what are you as employers and your organizations comfortable with? And what we heard was, large in-person career fairs, maybe not so much. Smaller events, a lot of folks felt comfortable with that. And so the calendar of events and activities you'll see will reflect that. It's very much a hybrid calendar, lots of online opportunities, some in person. Our strategy is very simple. We're going to monitor feedback from all stakeholders, the entire environment, and adjust appropriately. The good news is, I think all of us in the business of helping, students transition from college to the workplace are pretty nimble and comfortable using technology, and certainly our students are. So we've got the tools to work together to get the job done no matter what. Couple of things here this morning. Just want to quickly review the agenda. In a couple of moments here, I'll turn it over to Denise, who will sort of talk about expectations for the day and introduce Robinson to you by the numbers. Then we're going to have Barry Wood, our director of our PACE program, really cool signature program, and Tedra Cheatham, our director of business partnerships, talk a little bit about some special opportunities for employers to engage with students. through our signature programs. The other program is our Panther Immersion programs. And then Mary L. Thomas, who leads employer relations on the undergrad side, and Wanda Rayner on the graduate side. We'll talk about on-campus recruiting in a little more detail. What does that look like? What is virtual? What's in person? Go through the fall calendar, which I think everybody has received as part of your registration. Talk about a new program we're launching called Rise. Lakeisha Hughes is going to walk you through that. Really cool program that targets sophomores. One of the things we've heard loud and clear from employers the last couple of years is you're really interested in targeting and focusing on sophomores, particularly high potential sophomores looking for internships. We've actually customized a program to help you do that. And then talk a little bit about how to engage, how to highlight your company through different sponsorships or guest speaking opportunities. Denise Holmes will review that. Then we're going to open it up to some Q&A and get some discussion going with our staff and answer questions as you start to think about how to customize your own plans for your organization. And then Denise will close the event today and with some remarks, and we'll certainly walk away probably with some follow-ups or some things from several of you. I think the most important thing I want to highlight here is, today hopefully will help you kind of dial in on how to recruit at Robinson, how to get what you need in terms of recruiting our students. But most important, know that there's a team of folks here that are fully engaged to help you. And we've got a lot of experience on the staff. Many of us have actually served in roles like the roles that you're in. So we sort of know both sides of the equation, and we're really committed to helping you. So without further ado, let's go to the next slide. Just briefly wanted to introduce our team. We've really over the last couple of years, had the opportunity to bring some really strong folks on the team. Many of you have worked with Denise, who leads our undergraduate team and our career fairs. Some of you may have met Tedra Cheatham, who's been with us for, golly gee, what is it, 3 or 4 years now. She really works with companies that are interested in building relationships beyond, simply campus recruiting, but, sponsored research and scholarships and sort of all the things that happen once you start to build that talent pipeline and you want to go deeper with the college. And then we just recently hired Lauren Mcdowell. Lauren was actually at Truist, one of our top employers, and has come over to join us. Her first day on the job will be August 16th, and we'll be announcing that publicly here in a couple of days, but wanted to let you know that Lauren will become our point person on the graduate side. So if you're interested in recruiting graduate students, she's somebody that we'll connect you with here as soon as she gets started. And then Claire Higgins Morton is our assistant director, kind of a jack of all trades, just has come in and done a lot of great things to help take our office to the next level in terms of operations. Monique Brown is our business manager. Another recent hire that is really taking our operations to the next level. And then Sherry Conroy has led our Panther Immersion programs. These are annual treks that we pre-COVID we used to take to New York and DC and Silicon Valley, and Sherry's kept those programs thriving by moving those activities online with employers and alumni in those cities. And at the moment, we're actually planning to travel again. We'll see how that plays out, but we see those programs continuing to grow. We're actually thinking about adding some Atlanta versions and maybe even some local cities here in the next, more regional city treks in the next year or two. So let us know if you're interested in having serving as a host for those kinds of treks and visits. Next page here is our undergraduate team that works with Denise. Lakeisha Hughes, longtime staff member, super staff member who has worked on your side as an employer before. Aaliyah Martin, who joined us just a couple years ago, has made a big impact. Mary L. Thomas, who most of you probably work with on a regular basis in Handshake, scheduling events, just does a super job there. And then a recent addition, Sherry Noble, who came to us from Delta, her previous employer. And Sherry actually is in kind of a unique position. Robinson works very closely with something called the FinTech Academy. So if you're interested in students that are sort of focused academically on that intersection between finance and technology, Sherry is your go-to person. We have a great relationship with the FinTech Academy, teach a number of courses in that space, and her role is to really serve as the interface between those students and the employers who want to hire them. So Sherry, we're thrilled to have you on the team. And then the next slide is our graduate team. I mentioned Lauren Mcdowell. Also want to highlight Karen Martucci, who's been with us for a number of years. Karen does a super job with our accounting, tax, and a lot of our students in that space. Julie Chabon is unfortunately, I don't think she's on the call today. I think she's actually moving right now. So God bless her with a move. That's always stressful. But she works with our MBA programs and does a very good job there. Wanda Rayner, our employer relations specialist. If you are really just very focused on hiring graduate students, you want to talk to you want to talk to Wanda and develop a good relationship with her. And then the latest addition is Nicole Darby. Nicole has joined us as a contract professional. She will be working very focused on our Masters of Data Analytics and our Masters of Information Systems programs this fall. We're actually in the process of setting up a whole bunch of opportunities to engage those students and work closely with them. So if you're interested in how do you get right in front of those students, either contact myself or Nicole on those. So I think the next slide takes us to Denise. Denise is going to talk to you a little bit about Robinson by the numbers. Denise, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. We are so excited, like Jason said, that you guys are here. This is our largest employer summit that we've ever had. Like Jason said, my name is Denise Holmes. I've been with Georgia State a little over a year. I am an alumna of Georgia State and excited to be here and also excited to serve you guys in the fall. So we sent you, Marielle actually sent you these documents, I believe it was yesterday, and just wanted to give you a perspective on what our student population looks like in Robinson. As you may know, Georgia State as a whole, we have approximately 53,000 students. And in Robinson, we are a larger business school, the largest one in Georgia. We have over 8,000 students combined. And these particular documents break down the demographics of our students. As you can see, we have a very, very naturally, organically diverse student population. With the climate that is going on right now, that actually started in 2020, a lot of employers, if not most employers, are really targeting diversity hires. We're excited for that. And Georgia State, like I said, we naturally are diverse. We have, as you can see, and it's diversity not just of race and culture, but of age, of ability, all of that. You can get one-stop shop at Georgia State. So I'm not going to read these individually because I think that you have them yourself and you can read them, but just wanted to highlight that. So I'm going to turn this over to Barry Wood. Barry Wood is the director of our Panthers Accelerated Career Experience, the PACE program. And he's going to tell you a little bit more about that. Barry? You're on mute, Barry.
All right, better to not be on mute. So good morning, everybody. Thank you, Denise. I've got about 8 minutes, so let me explain a little bit about the PACE program. So again, my name is Barry Wood. I'm a faculty member here at Georgia State. In addition, for the past 7 years, I'm functioning as the director of the PACE program. So why introduce PACE? Well, I guess in my opinion, PACE is one of the better ways for corporations to interact with the university, but there's a lot more that you get from it. And I'm going to explain a little bit about PACE works and really the definition of what I just said in a moment. So what is PACE? So PACE is an applied management consulting field study class. Okay, so what does that mean? So essentially every semester, I get about 50 students who are among Robinson's best. They have a high GPA. So in other words, in order to be qualified for the program, they need a GPA of at least 3.35. They are juniors and seniors. So in other words, they've completed the majority of their business core classes. What they've done is mastered the theory, but they've really never put it to practice. So PACE gives them that opportunity. So every semester, we get about 50 students and we get about 10 companies who have consulting assignments to give a team of 5 or 6 undergrads. And the team of undergrads basically work toward solving that. They've never done this before. My job is to teach them how to run a project. I don't do their thinking for them. That would really be, kind of a waste. But I lead them to a point where they will be, basically solving problems of a corporation in a similar way that if that corporation had paid for a professional consulting team, they would get a similar deliverable. So what does that mean? Once teams are formed and students start working, among other things that they'll do is to create a contract between themselves and the corporation. The deliverables that they will promise at the end of the semester will be a 60 to 90 minute in-person presentation complete with PowerPoints, going through the research that the team has done, the ideas they've come up with, and the recommendations and analysis to support them. That's 60 or 90 minute PowerPoint presentation. In addition, the team will leave the client with 50 to 70 page written presentation that they can take with them. We've been doing PACE for about 7 years now. In fact, 7 years ago, the dean, Rich Phillips, came to me because my background is not a typical academic one. I came from corporate. To lead this. We've now for 7 years been running this program. We've had over 500 students come through PACE. In addition, we've done over 115 projects that span strategy, marketing, finance, operations. Each one that we've done is different. So every time the team takes a look at it, while it'll be the first time for them, it's also oftentimes the first time for me. I learn as much from the students, quite frankly, as they do from this process. Each year, or should I say each semester, what I try to do is to create the 8 to 10 projects equally split between large companies, medium companies, new ventures, non-for-profits, and also municipals. You'll be surprised, or perhaps you won't, that when the students see the options available for them, and they actually have the ability to tell us, or at least direct me to what are the projects that they're most interested in participating in. Oftentimes they're equally split between all of those sections. So you would think that large companies would get the majority of the interest from these students, but it's not necessarily so. Some people will, or should I say, some students will gravitate toward large companies, perhaps because they want to work for them. Others will go to the new ventures because they are entrepreneurial in spirit. Others will go to municipals because they really want to change the world and they love what these municipals or non-for-profits are doing. So typically we've got 50 students, 8 to 10 projects, and we work the students pretty hard. There are easier ways to earn 3 credits here at Robinson. So the students who sign up, not only are some of our best and brightest, but they also go in with the understanding that they're going to work harder in this class than they will in most others. And they sign up for that and they embrace that. And the product that they deliver at the end of the semester is quite impressive. So what's in it for the students? Well, that's actually more obvious. Students get real world 101. While many of our students work, they don't work at the same level that they will receive the experience here from PACE. So in other words, here at PACE, the team is working with heads of organizations, senior people. They have access to companies at a level that they wouldn't have access to had they been working as interns. They also get to put something on their resume that's an instant click for a hiring manager I can't imagine a hiring manager looking at a resume that had PACE on it and not basically ask them for 20 minutes, about the project. For the companies, it's perhaps less obvious, but from the company's perspective, there's no better way, in my opinion, to engage with Robinson than working with 5 or 6 of our best students for the entirety of a semester. In addition to that, free consulting. Oftentimes, a company is looking to, research something or investigate something else, don't necessarily have the time or the bandwidth to do it themselves, so they appreciate a team of very bright and knowledgeable undergrads taking that on for them. In other cases, there are internal consulting teams from the companies that we work with, and while they may be looking at the same question internally, they appreciate an independent third-party verification, i.e. the PACE team, looking at the same types of questions. In addition, from the employer perspective, it's what I would consider a free option for prospective employees. If I were still on the corporate side and I had a team of undergrads working for me, and there were 2 or 3 that I thought would be excellent fits to be prospective employees, there would be further conversations. And oftentimes, students who work on our PACE teams find themselves working for the clients that they represent through the PACE process. So I guess in a nutshell, that's how PACE works. How to proceed? Well, I guess it's easy. It's really just contacting me through our Career Advancement Center. There's no cost for participating, except for your time. And we appreciate the time that you spend. It's probably about 10 hours. When teams are formed, we bring our students to the companies for about an hour as a deep dive introduction. Each 2 weeks afterwards, their team wants to be in touch with the client as a touch base. Sometimes it's to get information, sometimes it's to share it. But there's a number of those half-hour bi-weekly meetings that are very important for the team. And in addition, at the end of the semester, like I said, we want you to host a 60 to 90-minute presentation by our students. Add up all that time, it's probably between 10 or 12 hours. It really is a big ask, but it really is required in order to give the students the experience that they need, and also to make sure that we're on the right path. If we don't talk to you as much as we need to, we may zig when you wanted us to zag. But by touching base, once every 2 weeks, we're in lockstep with what you were thinking that we're going to be doing, and we're more likely to give you the result that will, basically improve your lot. So let me stop there because I think I've taken up all my time. If there are questions at the end, I'll be sticking around and we'll answer anything. But Tedra, I think it's your turn to talk about Panther Immersion.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Barry. I appreciate that. As Jason had mentioned earlier, I'm Tedra Cheatham, Director of Business Partnerships, and work very closely with Barry, the Graduate and Undergraduate Career Advancement Center team, a lot of the professors and programs in undergraduate and graduate as we set up projects and research programs. One of the other groups in Robinson that I work closely with is Sherry Conroy, who's not on the call today, with Panther Immersion programs. And as you can imagine, it is so important for our students to be able to actually not only hear about what culture is of a company, but to see it in action and to feel it. And there's no better way to do that than actually being inside a company. As representatives of the employers, you all try to convey that, but there is a tangible feeling you can feel when someone is on site. And so we think that exposure is huge for our students as they prepare for their careers. And as many of them are first generation college, this is all a new experience. And the more actual immersive experiences we can give them, the better. So the Panther Immersion programs are divided into Panthers in the District, in the Valley, and on Wall Street. They're actually a highly competitive process for students. They go through application, interviews, mocktail party, learning how to network, on to actually get the opportunity to potentially go on one of these trips. There is a lot of in-depth training that goes on. Actually, Barry used to work on Wall Street and works really closely with our Panthers on Wall Street group before they go to New York, and goes to New York with the group. But it is a great way. It's a way most of the students in the Wall Street program are Robinson students, but the district and Silicon Valley programs are actually a cross between Andrew Young, College of Arts and Sciences, and Robinson. These are very highly motivated students, and we actually have a number of sponsors that help us in many ways. One is financially. PNC and BlackRock in particular have supported the programs financially, as well as through hosting these students locally and in the respective cities. If that might be something in which you're interested and you have locations in any of these 3 cities, would be interested in working with your company on hosting some of us, please let us know. We'd be thrilled to speak with you. What we find is a lot of times students are very interested in the idea of it. When they see the realities of it, they're like, we love that company, but really want to stay in the Atlanta area, I believe. So if there are opportunities here in Atlanta, so it is a great way to introduce culture of a company to these students. And some of them will end up going and being hired on in these cities, with companies in these cities. Some of them will decide to stay here in Atlanta, and many of them with companies that have an Atlanta presence also. You can see on this slide about the areas of concentration of each of those. So you can see kind of where that sweet spot is for the majors and how they line up with where their careers are going. It's very exciting to see these students' worlds open up. Often, many of them haven't had the opportunity to travel very much. Some of them have not been on airplanes, and just being with a group that are all dedicated to really exploring what opportunities are available in a very different world. Again, just opens these worlds up. The financial sponsorships really help support this program, and the fact that it allows students to participate and not let finances be a hurdle for them. There are a number of ways if you're interested in participating in the hosting. We have training sessions with students ahead of time because we really want them to interact with companies just like they would be interacting with them when they're on these trips. We want them to be confident in their abilities. They want to be confident presenting themselves while they're representing the university. One of the things I love about is there's business etiquette courses, there's dining etiquette. Each of their training programs on the months leading up to this, they are, you can see some of the groups right here on the trading room floor of the stock exchange. They're suited up and everyone, because we don't want them fiddling with their coats and their suits. We want them to know the gentlemen know how to tie their ties, those kind of things ahead of time. So this is like second skin, so they can present them their best selves. So we're very excited about hopefully going back, traveling on the road with them, because it really does heighten the experience. You can see here some of the demographics. We have a mix of undergraduate and graduate students, students as young as their sophomore year. So you can imagine how motivated they are to put themselves in position for this kind of program, on to graduate students. It's really great to see how the students learn from each other in this experience. You can see there's a great mix of ethnicities, culture, male, female, really great GPAs, and a couple of veterans in this year's cohort as well. And in case y'all don't know, Georgia State is named as #1 military-friendly program in the United States. So if veteran hiring is very important to you, Georgia State is a great place for you to look. Next slide. Okay, I am turning it over. Thank you so much. And we really look forward to hearing from you if you are interested in maybe a local visit by our Panther Immersion program group. or if you'd like to help support the program overall. Thank you all so much for your interest in Robinson.
Thank you, Tedra. On to the good stuff, the on-campus and virtual recruiting. Marielle is going to present this to you. She's going to share our programming that we are planning for the fall, which our programming that we're producing is virtual, but she'll talk a little bit more about that. Marielle?
Sure. Good morning. You can go to the next slide. So as Jason kind of mentioned, he kind of gave you a forecast of what it is going to look like on campus in the fall. And so I'm kind of just going to reiterate a couple of things. So one of the questions that we get often, or that we've been getting for the past couple of weeks is what's the difference between virtual and on campus? What does that look like? So you are allowed to do both. We can do virtual programming on campus or on campus recruiting. So we can do virtual or on campus, or we can do a hybrid. And that includes specialized employer events. So what does that mean? Specialized employer events simply are info sessions, coffee and conversations, maybe a tabling session. So any way that it's just your company participating and you're coming to recruit students specifically for your roles. So however you feel comfortable, that is what we will adopt to. I will say, if you come on campus, we've kind of removed most of the stipulations. So we can't really enforce a mask mandate. We can't really advertise like you have to socially distance or things of that nature. We can kind of craft the room a little bit, but for the most part, it's going to be almost as normal. So if your team is not comfortable with that, you can definitely buy in for the virtual option. And if you come to campus, you are more than welcome to wear a mask, how you feel comfortable in your team. We just cannot institute that over the students. So one of the bigger ways for you to engage with us is through Handshake. I'm assuming everybody on here is in Handshake because you registered that way. And so we wanted to just kind of give you an overview of what you have control over and what you can request within the system. The first thing is you can do requests on campus or virtual interviews. Jason kind of mentioned that at the very beginning. You would just need to let us know. We do also understand that if you want to just utilize Handshake to manage your schedule, that's totally fine as well. Just let us know when you submit in that request. The next thing is employer events, and notice that we put not associated with the CAC. We kind of noticed that some employers were doing their own thing. So you can request those events and put that in Handshake yourself. I will say this, we kind of would advise a little bit against that if you're doing something specific to Robinson students. I would say you need to work with us because we're able to get it to the students a lot better. And we're able to communicate with them and target it how it needs to be. So you have better engagement for those events. So if you are doing something specific to Robinson students, please work with the Career Advancement Center so we can help you with that. If you're doing something, I know some companies are doing events where they're inviting several schools, that's fine. We can approve that for you. So it is shown to Robinson students, but if you're just targeting our students, please work with us so we can make sure you get the best attendance possible. The other thing is, of course, job postings. You have complete control over that. So you can post job postings, you can make it as specific as you need, where it needs to go to, and all of that. And then last but certainly not least, career fair registrations. Hopefully some of you have already started registering for the fair. I think some of you have, looking at the list of employers that are here. So please do that. I'm going to toss this off to Wanda Rayner, and she's going to actually go through the highlighted events for the fall. So Wanda, it's all yours.
Okay, thanks, Marielle. Good morning and welcome to all of the employees on the summit. So excited to see you. My name is Wanda Rayner and I'm with the Graduate Career Advancement Center. And I'm going to give you a quick overview of our fall recruiting calendar. You probably already have this information, but as you can see, we have a very robust calendar of events planned for you. So just want to start off mentioning our accounting, audit, advisory, and tax employer showcase. That's going to take place on September the 10th, and it's targeting those employers in that industry as well. And we do encourage you to register for these events as soon as you can. Also, our next biggest event is our Business Career Expo. We do host this every semester. And that does target our undergraduate, graduate, and alumni population. So you'll have those populations to recruit from. We had the fair, we had the virtual fair this past spring, and we did have about 1,100 students to attend. So there is a big turnout for these events. We do have a number of other specialized events targeting certain disciplines that I want to bring to your attention. We have an actuarial science and risk management insurance fair that's going to take place in September. We're also hosting in October a Georgia State University Tech Talent Fair. We are partnering with our University Career Services team with that, and that will be targeting our tech talent here at Georgia State University. Also, another important event I want to bring to your attention is our Diversity Inclusion Student Leadership panel, that's going to take place October 15th. And this will be comprised of a panel of students to showcase Robinson's diverse student population. This will probably be a great event for employers who are launching any of their DEI initiatives to attend this event as well. We also have another specialized fair for our hospitality and marketing students. That's going to take place in October. And we have a 3-day event, which is our executive career mentoring event that will take place the first week of November 1st through the 3rd. And in this event, employers from different industries will be paired with students, our undergraduate and graduate student populations that have majors in that particular area. Coaches will be allocated about a 45-minute one-on-one coaching session with students, where they will be talking to students about any personal or professional development matters as well. And also, I do want to mention, to highlight, we do have a number of virtual workshops that we are encouraging our employers to register for and participate on those panels. So that concludes my overview of the fall calendar, and we look forward to your engagement.
Thank you, Wanda, for that. And just as a reminder, please put your questions in the chat. You're going to have, I hope it's ample time to ask questions and be interactive later on. Now I'm going to turn it over to Lakeisha Hughes. She's going to introduce a new program that we have that's targeting our second-year students, the Robinson Immersive Sophomore Experience. Keisha.
Good morning, everyone. We're so excited that you are here with us today. We would love to remind you that as we get you involved with these sophomores, please look forward to doing your own information sessions as well. You can do those individually, just for your company, based on whatever major or demographic that you're currently looking for, as far as sophomore or junior or seniors. So we want to make sure you have that great opportunity to do so. I'm excited to announce our wonderful RISE program. It is an opportunity for you to get engaged with sophomores as they focus on how to build and really enhance their professional development. We're bringing it to a different level where they're able to have different programming that focuses on mentorship, just professional development as a whole. What does it look like to be a business professional? What is it like to network? What are the do's and don'ts? We do a very deep dive into the program to allow them to go through different experiences so that they can be prepared for the business world. It is going to be in conjunction with, of course, 1010 and BUSA 1105, but it's a great initiative to help them arch their way into the business world and really learn to enjoy what it is to be a business professional in the world today. Attacking anything from being in a virtual space, working remote, as well as what is it like to transition back into the workforce post-pandemic. So it's a great opportunity for them to learn about themselves through Strength Finders. They have great coaching opportunities with me as well as with employers. And definitely a great speaker series as well. So if you would like to be a possible speaker for them as well, that's something that you can get in contact with me, and we'll forward you over to wonderful Ed Baker, who is our executive in residence, who is currently the professor over this program. So we encourage you all to be a part of that and grab a hold of these great sophomores that are a part of this current class.
Thank you, Keisha.
You're welcome.
So now we're moving on to employer sponsorship opportunities. I think that most of you, if not all of you, are recruiters, and you know that working with higher ed, a lot of times with career centers, they have tiered sponsorships, and we're no different. We do have that. A lot of our employers that opt to do this, they like it because once you, especially if you go for the gold package, which I know you guys got this information yesterday, so I'm just going to talk about it briefly. But if you go for the gold package, you really don't have to register for anything. And there's a lot of opportunity for you to engage with students. So like Wanda was talking about our expo that we do. That's our premier event that we do each term, fall and spring. And like she mentioned, we had over 1,100 students virtually, which is almost as many, because I think we had 1,200 in person last February. So that's almost as many as we had in person that attended the virtual fair. That one, like I said, it's included in this. We have a diversity breakfast when we're in person. So Wanda was talking about this diversity student leadership panel, which is phenomenal. We did it for the first time, this virtual event, because we couldn't do the in-person diversity breakfast spring of this year. We had we had so much interest from employers that we had to create another event. So we actually did it twice in the spring, and we may do it twice in the fall. What we're hoping, keeping our fingers crossed, that we'll be able to be in person in the spring and bring back the diversity breakfast. That is something that I'm telling you, you don't want to miss. In the the spring of last year, which was February, before we were shut down because of the pandemic, we had about 210 attendees, approximately 25 to 26 employer representatives, and about 12 table sponsors. And the rest were students. And the employers are able to be interactive. They're able to discuss diversity and inclusion at their organization and what that looks like. It's a very successful event in that students just sitting down eating breakfast with these employers like you, they are securing internships, securing interviews, securing full-time jobs, all of that. So it's a really great event. I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. That comes up in spring. But everything else, and let me just say this, as a table sponsor, if you do the gold package, that table sponsorship is already included. Like I said, you pay once, you don't really have to go to your purchasing department for anything else. You just let Marielle or Wanda know, and they'll register you for the event. So if you are interested in our tiered sponsorship, please contact me. Don't hesitate. My email address is there, and I'll respond, and we can have a conversation about it. Thank you very much. Okay, so on to the employer discussion that's going to be hosted by Marielle Thomas.
Hey everybody, long time, long see. All right, so before we dive into the Q&A section, we did have some of you all submitting pre-submitted questions. I want to go ahead and say you are more than welcome to still ask questions. You can drop it in the chat. I believe there is a raise hand feature on here, so if you want to do that, and then you can verbally ask your question. But before we ask your questions, before we answer those questions that you have, we want to ask you a couple of questions. So if that's okay, I'm going to launch a poll. The first question is going to say, is this your company's first time recruiting at Robinson? So let us know that, but then also let us know, is this your first time? So you personally, as a recruiter, is this your first time recruiting at Robinson? So I'm going to launch that, and we just kind of want to get a feel of the room just a little bit. So if you could take a few moments to just answer those questions for us, we would greatly appreciate it. And they're coming in. So it looks like, and you keep answering, but it looks like is this your first time? This is your company's first time at Robinson. Looks like most of you all have recruited before. We have about 76% that said no, this is not our company's first time. And we're still getting answers coming in, but it looks like that's the majority. Is this your first time recruiting at Robinson? It looks like we have a lot of repeats. So welcome back to the family. That many of you all are here. So you've been with Robinson for a little bit, but then some of you this is your first time. So welcome to the family for those who this is your first time. And we're really glad that you all are here. Thank you for participating in that. I'm going to jump into a lot of the questions that were submitted. And then our team, if you all want to hop in, I can answer some things, but as you all hear questions and you want to give some feedback, please do that as well. And again, please feel free to drop questions in the chat. Don't be shy. We're all friends around here. Okay. So the first one is, what materials can we, so the employer, provide to help qualified/interested students learn more about our company? And I don't know if anybody on our team wants to answer that first.
I can answer. Well, I can give a beginning answer. Thank you for that question. I think that as far as materials are concerned, it's nice to, especially if you're a company that hasn't really been on campus, and especially since we haven't really been on campus in about a year and a half, or you're a new company recruiting at Robinson, your collateral would be great. Like something, a lot of times they like t-shirts, we like pens, they like notepads, things like that. But what they enjoy most is you. Our students are very interested in developing relationships. They want to have a relationship with this company. And if you're not new to recruiting, then you know that once you develop that relationship, your job as a recruiter becomes much easier because the students start being your ambassador on campus. So it's really, the materials are great. And, we can house some of them, not a whole lot, but we can house some of them and definitely pass them out, and you can bring them when you are on campus. But we really need you to engage with our students, whether that is virtually or in person, and start building and strengthening that relationship that you have. Anybody else?
I agree. I think Denise, what you just said actually answers the second question. So the second question was, what makes a company successful in recruiting with your school? And I think what Denise just said is what is the key formula to success. You've got to start building your brand on campus. It is one thing to post jobs, but it is a whole nother thing to have a relationship with the students. They know who you are. They're familiar with your face. It just makes it a lot easier. And of course, again, the way that you do that is by engaging in our career development events, or, come to our career fairs, maybe host a coffee and conversation where it's just kind of laid back and you can just kind of get to know the students. If you want to come to campus, we've had some employers do tabling sessions where they brought King of Pops and t-shirts and, just got to interact with the students. So I think that is a very important step to take in order to be truly successful in your recruiting efforts here in Robinson. All right, next question. Will employers be allowed to visit on campus? Denise, do you want to take that?
Sure. Sure. And I think we actually Jason started with that and said, and Marielle reiterated it, that absolutely, you are welcome on campus, most definitely. As you may know, University System of Georgia announced and Georgia State announced that we would be fully open in the fall. And so if you would like to host a session, like Jason mentioned and Marielle reiterated, we do not have any restrictions. We can set the room up. However, if you do feel uncomfortable, we will be more than happy to set the room up where it won't be so congested. But just know, and you can restrict, and let me say this, you can also restrict how many students come to your event. So there are some really popular employers where they don't really have to do anything, and 100 students will sign up. If you're not comfortable with that, we can do 50, we can do 25. It's up to you, but you're more than welcome on campus. Just get with Wanda or Marielle or Sherry Noble and schedule your session.
Awesome. So I think there was a question in the chat. Is a virtual coffee and conversation possible? The answer to that is absolutely yes. um, so we did a lot of virtual coffee and conversations last academic year, and they were very successful. I would say, so if I'm usually asked what's the difference between a coffee and conversations versus info session, I always feel like coffee and conversations are just a little bit more relaxed. Sometimes we set them up almost like office hours, so students aren't obligated to stay for the entire length of it, but they can pop in before, between, or after classes, ask questions, engage with you. You can give them whatever information you want, and they can leave. Some employers have done formal presentations, but then just leave it open for its Q&A. So it's up to you. I see Corey on the call. He did one, and it was very successful. Students were very engaged, asking questions. So you are more than welcome to do a virtual one. So yeah, just reach out to our employee relations team, and then we can talk about dates and kind of get you set up and get you going there. All right, next question was,
Marielle, one thing real quick.
Sure. Yeah.
Also, don't be afraid to reach out to Marielle as well as the career counselors. Class presentations are also really beneficial. Employers have definitely been able to benefit off of the class presentations and being able to talk to different classes. Aaliyah and I helped an employer do a presentation for a finance class, for 4300, marketing classes, different hospitality classes. So whatever you're looking for, we're able to reach out to professors and do that as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Keith. Will there be a career day in which a company can come on campus and do a presentation for students? I think we just kind of talked about that, but you can do an info session as well. You're more than welcome to do that. And I would also say, please look at the calendar and participate in the career development events, because a lot of times you're able to present on something that really helps the students develop. But at the same time, especially like for resume reviews, you still get to interact with potential candidates. We've had students literally in a resume review gain an interview on the spot. Like they're like, we want you to come to our office, because they were just that impressed. So please get involved in those ways, because that is another potential way for you to meet the right candidate for the positions that you have open. Denise, I think you wanted to.
Yeah, I wanted to add just one thing, that the career day situation. So I want to go back to the sponsorship. If you were to become a sponsor, in particular a silver or a gold sponsor, we can do a career day where it may be, I saw AmeriCorps' name last, so it might be AmeriCorps Day. And we can set it up where, excuse me, you might virtually or in person be able to go into a classroom, speak. You would obviously have to bring some of your staff with you. They might be able to speak. You might be able to hold a coffee and conversation. You might be able to have a networking session, a lunch, whatever it is that you want to have in that day. It will be your day, and you would be able to be in different places on campus so that students will get to know you and your brand. And that a lot of organizations, like I said, that students may not be familiar with the brand, they do that, and it's pretty successful. Just wanted to add that.
Absolutely. We talked about this question. Okay. I think we addressed this, but I want to reiterate it again. The question was, if employers want to conduct interviews through the CAC, do interviews have to be in person, or are there virtual options? I just want to reemphasize, you can either come on campus or we can do virtual. We utilize either Zoom or WebEx. And you can still request interviews, but let's say you want to manage them, but you would like to utilize Handshake to help manage your schedule. You're more than welcome to do that. Just let our team know that you'll be either hosting it on, on your grounds, or you want to host it on your own platform, because we understand that there are security issues with some companies. And so any outside entity can't provide a Zoom link or WebEx link. So if you want to do that, you're more than welcome to manage your schedule through Handshake. Other question was, our company really wants to focus on diversity and inclusion recruiting. What is the best approach for this in Robinson? Denise, you want to take or Tedra, whoever?
I was actually just going to say, I think that it is very important for companies to talk about that with the students. You go back to your website. Our students are trying to do their homework with you. Make sure your website actually talks about that, and then you're backing it up when you're interacting with them. And it's also nice to have a diverse group of recruiters or company representatives on campus to interact with, because it's very hard whenever you're talking about how important diversity is, but there's no diversity of the people that are representing your company. So be very thoughtful about that as you come on campus, because I think that's important to our students, and to be the authentic diversity for which companies are looking for.
And also, I would like to add, also make sure your Handshake account reflects that as well. Any communications about diversity or graphics that you use.
True. Yeah, agreed.
And please
Yeah.
feel free to join our diversity panel, whether we do the breakfast or the virtual panel. We would love to have you and have those wonderful discussions with you as well.
Yeah, if I can piggyback, just because, we had a couple of things that were very eye-opening for me in this space. I really want to say, if you are, really trying to promote that, we're a very diverse work culture, but the people that you bring to talk to the students are not diverse, that's pretty bad optics, right? And can come off incredibly kind of tone deaf. And so you want to be mindful of that, of who you're bringing with you to show. It's not just about us talking about that we have diversity. We want to show that we have diversity. Our students heavily pay attention to that. And I'll give an example. So we were in an info session, and a student brought that to the employer's attention. Like, you're talking about diversity, but everyone on your team right now is not diverse. And Georgia State is a very diverse place. So they were a little concerned. And so the employer, I think, had to rethink that. And I think that was, like, you're right. We didn't think that through. So just be careful in that space, even down to your flyers. If you're saying we're diverse, but there's no diversity on your flyers, and like Wanda was saying, if we go to your Handshake profile or your LinkedIn, do we see diversity reflected there? And diversity comes in all forms. It's not just race. So think about, we have a lot of non-traditional students. We have veterans. So it comes in, so we have students who have disabilities, both visible and invisible. So you have to think about it from that particular lens. And so as you are making your, your marketing, as you're thinking about your strategy, just kind of keep that in mind. And we're more than happy to help you. So if you come up with something and you want feedback, you can always reach out to our team to say, how does this look? Is this okay? Do you think, does this reflect what we're trying to say? So we're more than happy to help you in that way. Denise, I think you wanted to say something.
No, I was just clearing my throat. I was just going to say, our students are not shy. They will call you out. Just going to let you know. Yeah, they will.
They will. That was all the questions that I had that were pre-submitted. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and you can ask a question if you would like to. We'll give it a few minutes, and if nobody has any questions, then we can wrap up. Like I told the staff the other day, all hearts and minds are clear. I think we are good to go with that. If you have any questions, please reach out. Can you send us a slide on the right? Sure will. We'll take care of that for you. We'll also send out this recording. We'll make sure that you all have all the information that we shared in this. If you have any questions, I think I dropped the email address to our employee relations team. So it's rcbcampusrecruiting@gsu.edu. Please utilize that, and then somebody from our team will get back with you. Denise, I'm going to hand it off to you.
Okay. We want to say thank you again. Thank you very much for attending today. This was pretty much like recruiting at Robinson 101, and we appreciate your engagement. We look forward to seeing you guys, whether it be virtual or in person in the fall. Please, like Marielle said, do not hesitate to reach out to any of us on the employer relations team, Tedra, who handles business partnerships, Jason, any career counselor or coach. We will be happy to help you. Thank you again and enjoy the rest of the summer.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.